Hello guys, today we're sculpting Wednesday from the hit Netflix series Wednesday. That's right, it's been rebooted again. She was black and white, then she was hanging out with Scooby-Doo, then she was live action, then she was 3D rendered, and now she's live action again. Older than she used to be, and now she's going to Hogwarts. Now, admittedly, I haven't watched the new reboot just yet. This was a request from Karoman_V73 on Instagram, but I do plan on watching it this weekend, and maybe that'll clear up some of the things that I saw when I was looking up reference images. Let's get started with blocking out. In order to keep things close to real life scale, I drop in a rigify meta rig for reference, and from here on, we're basically trying to build one of those wooden drawing mannequins that look like they'd be the perfect gift for an artist, but actually suck because you can't ever get the pose you want out of them, and your cousins won't stop buying them for your birthday or Christmas because the only thing they know about you is that you're the artistic guy in the family. Join the headpieces together and dig out some spots so we can jam some eyes in. We're not worried about details just yet, just the primary shapes. You ever see those rubber guys with the pantyhose on their heads? That's what our sculpt should look like at this point. Once you're ready to start adding more details, remesh at a higher resolution and chip away a bit more at the forms. To help with that deadpan look that Wednesday is known for having, I wanted some big ass eyelids, and rather than pulling those out, I used a cross section of the eyes, joined them to the head, and smoothed out the connections. From what I've gathered in the comments from some of my other videos, this is where some of you start getting a little stuck in your own sculpting journey, saying to yourself, something looks off. Does this look good?
No.
If you get to the point and you feel like you want to start over or give up, just push through. All sculpts go through this ugly duckling phase. Just keep on moving forward, work on something else like blocking out the hair. Sometimes all it takes is some eyebrows or some eyelashes to climb out of the uncanny valley. From here, I took a break from the head and started on her body. Joined all the pieces together and smoothed out the connection points and used QuadRemesher to get that quad count back down. We'll use this as a base for all of her clothes. We can duplicate the body, scale it up, and delete some of the front of the geometry to make the jacket. And by using masks, we can pull the jacket closed on the bottom. By masking out the shape of the lapel, we can extract some more geometry to fake the shape rather than trying to extrude and fold over that geometry. Same thing for the sweater and the collar. I masked out the bits that I wanted from the body base, then duplicated and shaped it into place. I like to jump around from place to place to keep myself from zoning out and losing focus, so back to the head, where I start replacing these temporary hair shapes. I added a curve and moved the handles to make a thin curved oval. This will serve as the bevel shape reference for the rest of the curves I'll be using. Added a new curve path, then selected the oval as the bevel shape and moved it into place. Copy that curve and move it around the head, and so on until the bangs are filled out. Add a mirror modifier and we're done with the bangs. Now we need to replace these thick curves that we used for the pigtails with actual braids. Now, we can take the time and make these ourselves. I've done it before, it's not that hard to do, but it's not fun and it takes a bit of time.
Have you ever had a dream that you'd do him to do you so much you could do anything?
Instead, I'm using the Braids generator that I bought from Carl Sue a few months ago. This thing's super handy. Just append the node tree and add it to your curve, and you get all these options for customizing the braid, which is far easier to edit than if I had made the braids myself and needed to change anything later. After I get the braids on, I started adding materials. And as I was adding materials, I noticed that I forgot to add eyelashes, so I used a single vert to go around the eye and extrude some out. After I got the eyebrows on, I started adding materials. The skin material is an ambient occlusion node into a color ramp, so I can control the gradient color from shadow to highlight. But the real key to getting a soft looking stylized skin shader is to set the subsurface color to red and the subsurface scattering to something low like 0.02. In order to paint makeup on the face, we need to unwrap the head, mark some seams, unwrap and arrange the UVs, then mix in a new image in the material, and we can jump into texture paint mode and paint directly on the model. The painting performance in texture paint mode will depend on the density of the model and what tool you're using. Don't do something stupid like trying to use a large brush on a model with the multi-res turned up to 4 levels of subdivision. If you're having performance issues, you can turn down the subdivision levels in the viewport or paint directly on the image in the image editor. It's around this time I figured I could go ahead and throw an armature on so I can pose the model. After getting the bones in place, I generated the rig and made it the parent of the model with automatic weights. Now that everything has handles on it, I can start moving things around and get Wednesday into her final pose. We're in the final stretch now, where we can start putting in the last of the details, like any of the extra hair bits, or sculpting in some folds, modeling buttons, and the stripes on the jacket. The final accessory, the Nevermore patch, was an image I grabbed off of Google and made transparent. Then I used import images plain and just shrink wrapped it to her jacket. Finish up with a basic backdrop plane and your run-of-the-mill 3-point lighting.
Complete!
And here we are, Wednesday Addams, from the new show that I'm gonna watch this weekend, so don't spoil it for me in the comments, please. You guys are nice and I trust you. If you want this model, I have it up for free on my Gumroad. There is a link in the description. Repose her or sculpt over it, or if you know how to make it print ready, make it print ready and print it out. I'd like to see that. Whatever you want. If you want to catch more of my sculpts, then subscribe. I'm only around 950,000 away from 1 million. So happy holidays. I'll see you after the new year. The next video will be that sculpting tutorial that I've been meaning to do. Alright, bye.